I, 36 female, have been no contact with my narcissistic, emotionally toxic parents for a year now. I changed my number ages ago, but someone gave them my new number as they recently attempted to contact me. I'm only in touch with 4 mutuals: my sister, my aunt, a childhood friend, and a cousin who's not the child of the aunt in question. Before I changed my number again, I wanted to trap the rat, tell each one of them a lie, and see which one gets back to my parents before changing my number so I don't accidentally give it to the rat. Remember, these are all lies. I told my sister I'm having an affair, warned husband of this ahead of time. He's in on it. Told my aunt I think I might be a lesbian. Parents are very homophobic. Told childhood friend I think I'm pregnant. And told my cousin I'm moving back to my hometown, near where my parents live, for a job. Didn't take long. 3 days later, I got a text from Mom about how excited she was. I was moving back, and it was the perfect time to bury the hatchet. Cousin busted. I had changed my phone number and cut contact with my cousin and gave the other 3 my new number and told them the situation, that these were all lies, and I had to catch the rat to see who was giving info to my parents. My aunt and childhood friend understood, but my sister, while she wasn't the rat and never told our parents, thinks I went too far and is upset with me for lying to her and is insulted that I would think she'd betray my confidence. I told her I had to do this to protect myself from people who were leaking information. Am I the idiot for temporarily lying to family and friends to trap an enabler? Not the idiot. I think this was brilliant. You could tell your sister that you're sorry she was hurt. You'd be too in her position, but what would she have done to trap the rat? Hope she gets over this. I get the sting of it, but come on. Lie about something that isn't so horrible. Lie to one person at a time. You are the idiot, OP. You caused stress to your sister by saying you were having an affair. If my sister told me this, I wouldn't sleep for days. She didn't deserve that. She had to think about if she wanted to continue to associate with a cheater. Suppose she wants to tell your husband. The lies had to be juicy enough to be worth passing on. Doing it one person at a time, maybe. Starting with the person you suspect most. That takes longer, though. Just imagine the alternate timeline where your parents found out you were moving back home due to your husband kicking you out because of the lesbian affair that you had, but you're still pregnant with this child. Woo, boy. I'd watch that show. However, OP, I've put myself in your sister's shoes, and I understand why she's hurt by the fact you considered her a suspect. Also, it's not that you told a lie, it's the specific lie. Telling her about an affair forces her into the moral dilemma of telling your husband and feeling bad for telling or not telling him, and feeling bad for lying to him. Doesn't matter if there's no affair. To her, the dilemma's real. All other lies had no real impact on the other persons. Everyone's the idiot here. And the fact that you don't seem to recognize that this is kind of bonkers and pot stirring on its own is concerning. And aside from that, I think you'd be able to distinguish who you'd want around without this massive cloak and dagger construct behind it, to some extent. So choosing this alienating grand dramatic approach is crummy, especially because it caused your sister harm and now minimize it. I'd honestly call what you did emotionally abusive all on its own, with the lies and the manipulation. You owe her a sincere apology because you handled all of this really, really poorly. My sister wanted to honor our late grandpa in her son's name and chose to call her son Bobby, which is what pretty much everyone called our grandpa. She mentioned the name being so special because it was his beloved great-grandpa's name, and that it would be so special for our grandpa to have his name live on. So here's the thing. Bobby was my grandpa's nickname, and he hated it. His actual name was Cyrus, Grandpa's mom's maiden name. Grandpa was named that by her, and after she died and his dad remarried, they started to call him Bobby because his stepmother's dad was Robert. Grandpa always hated Bobby, but after years of people refusing to listen, he gave in. He had a handful of friends who called him Cyrus or Cy, but that was it. I told my sister this, and she was upset and asked why he hated Bobby. Bobby's so cute. I asked her how she'd feel to be named after her late parent and for a surviving parent and step-parent to then rename her after the step-parent side unofficially, but to the point where it sticks more than her actual name. She was initially glad, but after a few weeks she snapped and told me she didn't like Cyrus, and I ruined the name Bobby for her. Am I the idiot for telling her the truth? Edit. Her baby wasn't born and is still not born, so I wanted her to know before he was here. Not the idiot. You told her the truth, and she couldn't handle it. It wasn't his name and he hated it. She's naming her son after stepmom's dad. While it stings right now, deep down, she will appreciate it. Honestly, this is her problem. OP only listed the facts and told her how it is. And the caveat is that the baby isn't even born yet, so it's not like there had to be a name change. Part of me wonders why this wasn't known to OP's sister. It doesn't seem like it was a family secret or anything. So I'm wondering if the sister did know and chose to forget about it until it was brought back up. I ruined the name Bobby for her. Nah, Cyrus's father and stepmother did that. And naming the kid Cyrus would actually be honoring the grandfather, but that doesn't seem to be the point. The fact that she didn't know this shows she wasn't that close to Grandpa, and her desire to honor him is just an excuse for her to name the child Bobby. The baby isn't born yet. She has no ground to blame you, and it would be better if the child would be saved from being named Bobby. I'm 56 and just finalizing my will. I have 2 children, Jack and Marge. Marge is disabled and can't look after herself. My wife and I take care of her at the moment. Our biggest worry is that when we die, she will not be taken care of. Our family has a good amount of money. It's enough that you could probably get by without working for the rest of your life and still have money left over. We're very fortunate and just got lucky for a lot of things. We bought cheap houses long ago, and they're now worth a ton due to the location. We made our will that Jack would only get the money if he took care of her. We can't be sure he won't take off with the money alone. If he doesn't care for her, he doesn't get the money, and it'll go to my nephew, who has the same condition. We have a few other backups, but I know my nephew would do it if my son didn't. It came up today asking what'll happen to Marge when we die, and I explained that I didn't want to lie and have it be a shock when we're dead. My son is angry, and the family's split, so I came here. We looked into a trust, but it's not a safe option. There's a huge chance the money can be taken from her due to the law surrounding it. We're not in the USA, and we've spoken with multiple lawyers already. You are the idiot. It's not his responsibility to look after his sister. It's your responsibility to seek out proper care for her prior to your passing without forcing it upon the family and putting that in the will. For the record, people who are forced into caring for those who are disabled and have no interest in doing so are likely to get extremely stressed and depressed, and it can lead to them abusing or neglecting the disabled person. I laughed because OP says they can't be sure their son won't take off with the money and leave his sister without care, but they think he will take care of her on his own if they just leave him an inheritance? And you're sure your nephew's going to take great care of your daughter and not dump her and run, are you? Right, that struck me too. Why are you so sure your nephew will actually do what you say and take proper care of her? Split the inheritance 50-50, or heck, 40-60, or whatever, but take the daughter's portion and put the daughter in a facility that can care for her, and put it in the will that your son has to visit and check on her frequently. But forcing people with no medical or hospital or care training to take care of someone indefinitely for their inheritance is manipulative and will likely lead to resentment. You are the idiot, OP. Congrats! You just 100% showed your son he's nothing but his sister's potential caretaker to you. You can do what you like, but it seems crappy to tie an inheritance to his deciding to be a caregiver. My bet is that for much of his life, she was the one who got a lot of attention, and now even in death, you'll be putting her first. Update: I talked to my nephew, and this isn't an issue anymore. He wants to take over, so we'll switch the order. He'll take care of our daughter and get the inheritance. Now my son doesn't have to choose. I have 2 daughters, 23 and 20. They're beautiful and intelligent, and I love them both. I always wanted them to be strong and independent women who could stand on their own feet, and I tried to raise them that way. They were both interested in volleyball, and I always supported their interest. My younger is still playing in a team and studying at a good university. She's really hardworking, and even if she doesn't succeed in playing professional volleyball, she'll definitely have a good job. My older daughter quit both sports and school when she got pregnant at the age of 18. When she first told us she was pregnant, I was very upset and advised her to have a procedure because having a child at such a young age would disrupt her life. She didn't want to have it, and my wife supported her decision. I was very insistent on her at that time, but when I saw that she remained determined, I dropped the issue and supported her fully, even though I didn't want to. She got married quickly with the baby's father. Then she decided to stay home and care for her child, and her husband started to work. I never wanted my daughter to depend financially on her husband, but I never voiced it either. But of course my daughter knows that I'm bothered by this. Yesterday we were having dinner with my daughters and my wife. My wife and daughter started talking about being a mother. My wife told her that even though I wanted her to end it, I now love my grandson. My daughter asked me if that was so, and I said, of course I love him. I love my grandson, but my daughter knew that I was bothered by her situation, so it didn't sound sincere. My daughter said I could give her an honest answer, and I told her that I really loved my grandson, but was disappointed that she had become a mother early, had left school and her job, and was now dependent on a man. She didn't argue with me, but the rest of the night was tense. At the end of the night, she went home, and my wife started a fight over what I said. I told her that she was the one who wanted an honest answer, but my wife was sure that I was an idiot. My younger one agrees with me, but says I was rude to say it out loud. You are the idiot. I'm the daughter in this situation. I got pregnant when I was 16. Was it a great idea? Absolutely not. But once the decision was made, it was done. Well, my mom was exactly like you. Consistently brought up things like how she thought my life would be different. She was disappointed I'd become such a young mother and had much bigger plans for me. It's such a shame I didn't listen to her when she told me to abort, etc. for years. Well, guess what? Now I'm 37, happy and successful, and my daughter's 21 now, and one of the best people on the planet. But guess who I haven't spoken to in 4 years, because I got so tired of listening to the crap over the years? That's right, my mom. If you value your relationship with your daughter and grandson, it's time to let go of the dreams you had for her life and focus on being a supportive and kind part of the life she has now. I feel like you didn't even read what he wrote. He is not constantly bringing up anything. He was asked point blank and told to be honest, so he did. He also stated that he supported her after she made up her mind. This is nothing like your situation. Also, he's not saying he's disappointed in her for having the baby. He's disappointed that she decided to be a stay-at-home mom at 18 and has no plans to support herself. OP, you are not the idiot. She asked and you answered. And if your wife is mad, ask her what the heck she was doing bringing up that topic in the first place. Years later, she's asking, hey, your dad wanted you to get rid of your baby. Remember that? Jesus. Update. Your comments have actually helped me understand my ideas better. I'm not sorry that my daughter doesn't live the life I want. I'm sorry that she lives dependent on another person. And I can't say that their marriage is going very well. They chose the sport they wanted to be interested in, the university they wanted to attend, their hobbies, etc. I didn't force anything on them. All I want is for them to be self-sufficient. I also told my daughter I'd pay for a babysitter if she wanted to return to school or get a job. Yes, she's only 23 years old and could still have a career, but she's not doing that. I'm sure that one day her marriage will end. I can't explain in detail how I know this. Her husband doesn't have a high enough income and won't be able to support my daughter and grandson well enough. I won't be in her life forever, so I want her to have a career and be able to make money. I should have expressed myself better. You're right. I will apologize to my daughter for that and explain myself better. My 23 female mom passed away 2 months ago, and my fiance and I quickly became the sole guardians of my 3 younger siblings, teen, younger teen, and tween. As much as I loved my mom, I know how hard it was growing up under her and how we didn't have a lot. So when I left for college, I did feel guilty leaving my siblings there, knowing they wouldn't have much. But I did so for this very reason, so that I could make enough money to get a house that allowed me to house all of them if needed. They understood why I had chosen to go away to college and didn't resent me for leaving them there, which I'm grateful for. Although I am in the position where my siblings can stay with me for however long they need to, I won't lie and say things haven't been hard, especially financially wise. I went from caring for myself, my fiance, and our 2 dogs to caring for clothing, housing, and feeding 3 children who need stability. It was such a shocking flip to my world, and I'm just trying my best to do what's best for my siblings. However, one thing 3 teenagers can do is eat, and I fully understand that we grew up in a household where we would have food 1 week and then be home dry the next 2 weeks. So we truly never knew when we'd eat a full meal again outside of school. Yet that's not a worry my siblings have had to face here. It takes some saving and budgeting, but my fiance and I have devised a way to spend $1,400 a month to fully stock up the house. I've had small conversations about my siblings needing to be considerate of everyone in the house when it's regarding food, and telling them to take what makes them full and leave enough for others to be full as well. I understand the resources guarding mindset is very hard to get out of. I really do. But what else can I do? Things got bad when my fiance and I went grocery shopping at Costco on Thursday, and we usually buy a few snacks for the kids to snack on or take to school. We woke up Friday morning, and within less than 24 hours, all the chocolate chip cookies were gone, and they came in a pack of like 50. I called everyone down and explained to them that I would never restrict access to any food from them. However, they needed to be 100% considerate of everyone else in the house, who also needed to have access to the same food and snacks as them. I told them that we were going to start learning about portion control and saving food for others, and they all said that they understood, and that was the gist of it all. The reason I'm asking if I'm the idiot is that I went to my group for other people who have the same situation as me and talked about it, and another group member told me that I was a terrible person by controlling what they ate and that I was giving them an ED. I'm absolutely not trying to control their eating habits. I'm just trying to make sure everyone eats. Am I the idiot? And if I am, I'll absolutely apologize to them and find ways to help. Not the idiot. And maybe you can reach out to the nearest food bank and supplement the food that you buy. Teenagers are very expensive to feed. Use the resources in your community to help. I donate regularly to my local food bank because I want people in my community not to have to worry about feeding their families. Families like yours are exactly why I donate. Mate, these kids don't need more food. Yes, kids who are growing up eat a lot of food, but no one of sound mind eats 15 to 20 cookies in the span of 12 hours. And it's not just one of them. From your description, they each did this. OP, you're doing a good thing here and taking in your siblings. No, you won't give them an eating disorder if you implement your plan. Unfortunately, you're out of your depth. Their brains have been wired to worry about food constantly, and just giving them more isn't going to magically fix it. There's a physiological problem that needs to be addressed. The fact it's in the brain, rather than a broken toe or a tumor, doesn't make it any less real. They need therapy.